Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I'm Dustin. We're going to be looking at NVIDIA today. If you saw my actual video from yesterday, I actually did quite an in-depth review of the actual volatility that is showing up in NVIDIA. And the reason why I want to call that out is because the prices that we're seeing, the moves that we're seeing in NVIDIA, this thing on the 2nd of January was at 138, it went to 149, and now it's back down at 140. There is something going on with the volatility inside of NVIDIA. But the thing that is the most supportive of this is that you are seeing an explosion of the volume. Now, if we look at the chart, the difficulty here, and this is one of the problems that I have with this type of data, is that this data going back does not have the change. It does not normalize the data for when they did their stock. They did the reverse stock split or whatever. So if I go ahead and I look more at my traditional model, what it's going to show us, and I'm actually just going to click this real quick. So now we're looking at Tesla. I'm going to go ahead and update this for NVIDIA because obviously this video is about NVIDIA. What this is going to show us, especially most recently in terms of the way that the prices have been moving, I'm going to go ahead and we're probably going to quickly move over here. This will update with all the raw data that we have. One of the big things that I can tell you that's going on in NVIDIA is that you're seeing a move in volatility. I'm not sure if it's higher, I'm not sure if it's lower, but the volatility is being very, very interesting. It looks like it's actually falling right now. And if you watched my video yesterday, I talked more specifically about that. The reason why is because I believe that price tells you a lot. We can see that price recently has been essentially within that green band, which means it's in its normal distribution. In the middle of December, we saw some very bearish movement. We saw some incredibly bearish action inside of NVIDIA, especially after Thanksgiving all the way through about the 19th, it looks like here in December. So the moves that we're seeing now in the beginning of January, this is a really remarkable move. Because if we're going to be honest, NVIDIA really hasn't done that much. Like, yes, you could say that it's moved a lot in the past year, but if we're looking at even on 6 months rolling return, it's only up 18%. Now, the 18% is a crazy return, but you could have just bought the index in all of like 2024 and you'd be up like 28%. But instead, everybody's riding on NVIDIA as though it's somehow this like magnificent thing. Now, if we look back on the past 6 months of rolling returns, the big time that you were looking at this is when it was back in November and it was at 148. It was around the exact same price. At that point, NVIDIA was up 60% over the rolling 6 months. That's the move you want to grab. You don't want to be part of the move where you go from 60% up over 6 months to now you're up only 20%. That means that this entire time has just been chop. Now, I will say that there's some encouraging things if I'm looking at NVIDIA. You go long in the short term, intermediate term, and you're now doing it on the longer term as well. You've got bullishness in the short term, intermediate term, and longer term. And to be fair, the most important thing is that we've got a volume spike today. And when I see a volume spike on my metric, what that means that the volume is above the 10-day moving average of the volume. And it's remarkable because NVIDIA puts up numbers. There's nothing you can say about NVIDIA other than like it trades shares. And with the price that it's at, that's like big money. Because if we look here, the rolling sentiment is actually starting to go bullish. Like you are starting to see positive, at least momentum inside of the stock. You've got a big bull, you've got a small bull, you've got the 1 month bull trigger. Even if we're just simply calculating how many bullish characteristics we have four bullish signals going into tomorrow. Like Nvidia looks phenomenal, but if again we're going to be honest, really what happened here when we're looking at this trade range, it hit the top of its range and it bounced right off. Like the top of the range is only 150. It hit the top of the range yesterday essentially and bounced right off. That is actually very normal behavior, and this is probably a move to be purchasing. I'm not sure exactly what the best place is to necessarily buy an NVIDIA. In my opinion, I'd probably say yeah. I mean, you're getting there. If you got down to 130, but we haven't been down at 130 since I don't know, the 18th. And if we look here, that 130 was down here, and that was the bottom of the range, and that's exactly what you wanted to buy. So now you saw the top of the range and it bounced right off. You wanted to sell some. I mean, it's pretty straightforward to be honest with you. And now I'm looking at NVIDIA. The best thing, and I'm going to reiterate what I said yesterday. If you want to watch the video, it's still online, is that we're seeing the volatility drop. And now the correlation is starting to come up. Now, the reason why I say that is because what we want to see is we actually want to see this volatility completely break back out and the correlation start to go positive with it. And I think we have a chance. It just depends on what we see tomorrow. Like, there's a big move coming in NVIDIA. I just don't know what it is, but like, we're going to compress for a little bit and then we're about to explode in NVIDIA. I assume higher just based on the signal that I saw on the signal and the trend and the sentiment. But things are looking very interesting in NVIDIA. It's probably been a tough couple of days, but to be honest, things might be getting a lot brighter. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is this even a good review? And before you go, subscribe to the New High newsletter. Send you 25 stocks to your inbox every single Sunday. Stocks breaking out to 5 and 20. Stocks breaking out from $5 to $20. Stocks breaking out to 1 year highs, all time highs. It's a great list to get your trading week started. I'll talk to you soon.